What's happening, everybody? We're doing something a little bit different today. I have my buddy Manny joining us, and we're just gonna chat about our favorite subject, or at least one of our favorite subjects: backpacks and bags and all that good stuff. I've got a few bags here that I'm probably going to talk about as we're discussing and kind of show off. But honestly, that's about it. Manny, if you want to do a small introduction, you're more than welcome to.
Sure. Hey everyone, I'm Manny. I'm certainly a backpack nerd. I actually had to write up a spreadsheet of all my backpacks and learned that I'm just actually a couple shy of 100 in my collection from a wide variety of brands. I don't know. I love carry. I think if you're traveling a lot, my big background is travel. So when you travel, the bag is probably the most important piece of kit that you have to carry everything else in. And I got to love backpacks along the way.
Nice. So I was collecting. I think I was up to like 25, maybe 30, and I just started selling off some of mine. I just kept staring at them, and I know I was just getting so sad though that they were just sitting on the wall for too long. And I was thinking, I just have to I would rather get these out in the wild so somebody can use them. That's where I kept coming up with it. So. Good, bad, or indifferent. But I don't know. For me, I've really been I've been struggling with moving away from my current EDC. But we'll talk EDC in a moment here. But one of the questions I wanted to ask, and I'll let you go first, if you can think of what was the bag that started your journey? Like what got you into backpacks and bags and all that good stuff?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so great question. So I was the person that always had sort of the free backpacks that you got at giveaways, and your company would give you a backpack. It was always cheap, and you'd run through a backpack pretty quick. I was going on this round the world trip. I'd saved up a lot of my miles. Delta was offering this sort of ticket that took you around the world in one direction, going to 9 countries. I knew I needed a backpack that would last. Most of the times my backpacks would fall apart within a few months. So I did some research and I got really into fabrics and reading all about all the different types of fabrics. And the first bag that actually started for me was the 511 Moab 10 sling. It's a sling. It doesn't hold that much. I think the capacity was like 16 liters. But it was the bag that I took around the world with me. It's been to probably 20 plus countries, carrying all the little things I might need on a daily basis. And it's a bag that I probably had for about 10, 12 years now, and still, looks almost brand new. Like you would not believe how much this went through. And that's the bag that definitely started for me. And then I started looking at quality over, free.
Yeah. You still have that though?
I do. Actually, I saw it this morning.
Nice. Yeah. It's, it's funny because they become you become sentimental around them, right? So, it's interesting how that happens, because I would agree with the quality thing, and I'll show off 2 of my bags that kind of started. I think it's just so intriguing as you learn more about and you kind of dive further into the industry and everything, how your decision making changes on what's a good bag, what's a quality bag, what's just a crazy company that just manufactures gazillions of bags and doesn't really care much about it. There's so many different areas of focus to look at, but that's pretty cool. Let me see what I got down here. So I have 2 bags personally that I'll talk about when it comes to my first. So, and I don't remember which one came first, but they were both in high school. So before the internet, there used to be. So I was like, I wouldn't
Before the
say
internet, that was a time that time exists.
Yeah, it was circa mid-90s high school. I wasn't a big skater, but I dressed like a skater and I could push around. Let's put it that way, right? So, and I hung out with other people that skated, and there was this really cool catalog called CCS, California Cheapskates. I think the company's still around, but I lived for the fact that I get my little CCS catalog and I'd buy shirts and other stuff, and Maple was the brand, and I bought this bag, and I still have it, and it's a pretty terrible bag actually. As you can see, it's just There's nothing to it. There's no frame. It's terrible. But at the time, I thought this was like the greatest thing ever. Right? I can't believe when I think about it. This bag's 30 years old. It's got some holes now in it, right? And I use it occasionally. I took it on a trip like a year ago, and then my dad came home. My dad's in the military, or was in the military. He's retired, and he came home with this. I don't even know what brand it is. He called it a 3-day bag, right? So
I think that's an SOG.
I don't know if there's a brand with this. It has YKK. It has YKK zips, and they're beefy. I mean, they're some huge zips. I don't think I've ever even looked to see if there's like a branding label or anything in it, but nevertheless, I remember him coming home with a 3-day bag from I don't know what mission he was on, and I fell in love with this backpack. There it is. It says AWS Incorporated. That's all it says. FSCM. Yeah. Description: 3-day pack. That's it. So anyhow, this rando bag was awesome. I took this bag pretty much through my entire 20s. This was my go-to bag. And that kind of started my love for bags. And then, it just kind of morphed into there. I remember my first real decision to put money into a backpack. I bought an Ogio Renegade RSS, which I actually just gave that bag away to a young gentleman who needed a laptop backpack. And I hadn't used it in years. And so I just gifted that to him, and he's using it. So, but yeah, that was that.
Sounds like both of us shared in the first backpack being tactical-ish.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Well, it's because they're made so well. I mean, they're made to they'll run through like that bag today compared to the first one, that maple one I sent there. That bag today, it's awesome. I don't love the fact that it is black interior, so everything gets hidden in it when you drop stuff in it. But the bag itself is, the zips are perfect yet. And again, that's another 25, 30 years old. And it got used a lot in its life. So what are you using for EDC these days?
I feel like my EDC changes often because I look at my bags and then decide, I'm going to use this today. I would say most often the bag that I'm using more often than not is the Boundary Supply Errant Pro. Okay. It's a fairly new addition in the Boundary Supply lineup of backpacks, but I love everything they did with it, and it's something I find myself using more often than not.
Okay. So when you're changing back and forth, because this is always a cause of concern for me, sometimes I used to really enjoy moving the bags, and then somewhere along the line, I was just getting to a point where I'm like, this is exhausting. And I started moving to more pouches, which made it a little bit faster. I'd be like, just dump 5 pouches in one bag and I'm running, or dump 5 pouches in the next bag and I'm running. But I've always, you got to watch what you're doing depending on how many pockets, because you always forget something and you're like, that's in the last EDC bag I was carrying. Do you run into those issues at all? Or are you using a lot of pouches?
I would say, I do use pouches. I think I came into the pouch game a little late. I do use pouches. I have a pretty kind of I would say consistent approach to how I pack my EDC and what's in it. So it's easy for me to think of things in a category standpoint. I'm moving this category, I'm moving this category, and this category. I think the only thing that I really get hung up on not carrying over from bag to bag when I move is my air tag, which I normally hide inside of a bag in case the bag gets picked up and I want to track it real quick. But yeah, that's probably the thing I lose more often than not.
All right. I'm writing down notes too, man. I don't have any air tags in my bag, so that's probably a good thing, especially not a good thing that I don't. Good thing that I should add, especially with travel. Not that I would, but you never know. So that's.
I was recently in San Francisco, and it's something that was top of mind for me. So I thought about, what could I do to protect my bag.
I'm at the end of next month, I'm heading out to Arizona, and then I'm going to Mobile World Congress and in Vegas. And so I was thinking, what am I going to do there? That's the bag geek in us though. Like I just booked that flight today and I'm already thinking now, what bag am I going to carry? But, I'm already like the gears are moving like, oh, I can envision already the bag setup I'm going to have for that trip. And it's just, I don't know. It's freaking hilarious. Like it's just ingrained in us. Like that's just who we are, but it's still funny at the same time. Like really, that's what's on your mind. But, oh well. So, EDC for me, I'm carrying. Where's my EDC? I'm still rocking it. I still have the CTB 26 and absolutely love it. Like I think in my review I talked about the only thing I would change is I feel like it's a tad bit beefier, I'll say, or chunky than the CHC 26. And the funny thing is, I did some comparisons. I think the CHC, I have it down there somewhere, is a little taller than this after the frame sheet and everything. But I just feel like when it's on my back, this feels a little bulkier than the CHC.
I think it's the width. I agree. As someone who also has the CTB 26 and the CHZ 26, I think the CHZ is taller but skinnier. Like narrower on the back but taller on front.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting, but I mean, I can't. From a functionality standpoint, it does everything I need it to. I mean, it really is everything it pretty much was advertised to be, and I think that's why I haven't changed from it. I did look at my CHC 26 the other day, hanging on the wall, and I actually said to my wife, I'm like, I kind of miss that bag. But I will tell you the one thing that I don't love about that bag is having to dig my laptop out of the main compartment. That's probably the thing about it. But yeah, otherwise, CTB 26 is working awesome for me. I'm loving it. Still an Evergoods fan from that standpoint. Actually, let me just show you one more thing. So on my review, I forget the person who gave me a comment. They were like, dude, your top pocket with all your cords, you're giving me anxiety. Get yourself the Civic pouch, the 1 liter, and use that. So I didn't do that yet because part of me is like a little cheap to buy that the travel pouch. I'm like, that's a lot of money for a pouch. But I do still have my Brown Buffalo little access pouch. Now I do have some quick access cables still in there loose, but I put everything that I don't quick access in there, and I feel like shout out to whoever it was that made that comment, because you started making me think about it, and I was like, all right, maybe I should do something differently there.
You have to reduce.
What's that?
So I'm down to one long USB-C cable and one Apple cable and a small anchor brick.
And that's I don't know. I that's my overpacking there sometimes. So I keep trying to tell my kids also when they go on trips, like I help them out. Like my son went to Costa Rica this summer, and my youngest daughter went to Ohio, both on like a mission trip. And so they're with like 20 other people, right? And so I was like, so the way I pack and the way I do things, I sometimes either take gifts with, like travel gifts. Like I use those I forget the name of them at the moment, but the little multiple charger cords, and they're like this big. They're super small. I keep wanting to say Rhodia, and that's the tablets I use. But yeah, so I'll have them take 1 or 2 of them along, and they basically have a USB-A, 2 Lightnings, a USB-C, and a micro on them. So the idea is you plug a USB-A into a pack, a charging pack, and then you can plug, if you're in the bus or plane or whatever, and whoever's beside you has, for some weird, crazy reason, Annie, they, what is that?
This is I carry a braided, lengthy USB-C to C cable, and this is a magnetically attached A adapter. So it sits on the cable, and the idea is I plug the C in there, and then I've got the A if I'm plugging into like an old school, car, airplane, and this way I can make sure I stay charged.
Okay, nice, very cool. I'll have to. I was looking at a 3-in-1 that's magnet. Pack Hacker had it on. I don't remember what the model is. I put it in my Amazon wish list, and just it's one of those things. But I did my last travel, in the plane, I ripped. I was using Anker's 3-in-1, so it has like a micro, and then you plug like the micro, the Lightning or the USB-C on top of the micro, and it plugs in. And because of that, like the connector coming out of the phone is like that, and it snapped right off. So, so after that, I bought a braided Lightning cable. But you interrupted at the right time there, though. I was going to harass you about if you have one of those friends that has an Android device. And,
I'm sorry.
you know, one of the green bubble people, you know.
I am one of the green bubble people. I gave up. I've got the nice new Flip 5 with the whole screen on it. Something about having a flip phone and, you know, purposely doing it, talking flipped to let everyone else know that I'm on a flip phone.
Okay, does it answer when you flip it open?
It does, and it hangs up when you flip it closed.
There is something just so satisfying about that.
I agree.
Yeah, there are generations of humans who just won't understand, but oh well. Let's see here. What do you love about your current favorite bags right now that you're using, or like the Boundary Supply, or anything from that standpoint?
Yeah, so I'll share the Boundary Supply story with everyone else, since it's you who got me into Boundary Supply. You know, Ryan first reached out to me, showed me this Boundary Supply errant bag. And I looked at pictures online, and I immediately didn't like it because it had this whole front of Hypalon. And I looked at the pictures like, no, I just don't like it. It didn't look good. But that was simply the pictures. Fast forward, I don't know, a year, and my girlfriend was looking for a backpack that fit a cooler. She wanted, you know, a cooler that she could bring with her that carried some snacks and some drinks, and she could put in her backpack. And I recommended the Boundary because they had that as an accessory. And she ordered it, and she got it, and I immediately loved it. And I thought, oh man, the pictures didn't do its justice. I want one. I ended up getting one, and then sort of every other backpack in their whole lineup. What I love about my current bag now, the Errant Pro, is that it's sort of the size that I look for. I think I look for a bag that's in the range of, say, 25 to 28 liters for my daily carry. Coming from New York City, like, I always got used to packing sort of, you know, a very small packing cube of clothes, like in case you got stuck somewhere, you had to sleep, you know, at a friend's or whatnot. You had the clothes you need to just change in the morning and go back to work. But what I love about my current bag is sort of a few things: the accessibility of all the pockets and how it packs. So this one is a, you know, full flat clamshell. You open it up, you can pack the whole thing from the bottom like a bucket. It has a lot of magnet air. So I actually have that here that I can show you. So this is, forgive the angle, but this is, and the most important thing to me is they've since changed out the Hypalon with this rubberized ballistic nylon, which in my opinion is so much better. But the magnetic hardware lets me just flip that open. I have access to the main compartment, which expands, and then this thing just becomes a massive bag.
That's crazy.
But on the back, when I unzip it from the rear, it, again, full clamshell. It's got a separate area for your laptop and your tablet, which I'm really a big fan of separate areas. So this has a magnetic clasp here. I'm obviously using my laptop, so it's not in it, but my iPad is in there. Snaps closed. The other side, opposite for the main compartment, has this accessory that you can purchase. It's a separate, what they call divider wall. And I could basically unzipper it. It has access to the main compartment there. But this wall here has a little dump pouch for sort of everything you might need quick access to, a separate toiletry bag built in, so I have access to all my toiletries, toothpaste, toothbrush, a little loofah, body wash. And at the bottom, it's a wet-dry compartment that is, you know, has water-resistant zippers. It goes all the way back into the bag. You could fit, you know, full pair of dirty sneakers, dirty laundry. Boundary also has some accessories like a cooler that fits perfect in here, so I could put that cooler in there with some ice and keep it separate from everything else. And I think what I love most about the Boundary ecosystem overall is just the accessories they have. Like, it's not just about the backpacks; it's everything else you could put into them that kind of, you know, goes with it. That makes it really, really cool.
Yeah, yeah. So my only hang up with Boundary is getting into everything from the back, but everything else I'm on board with. I love the organization of that back panel with the laptop. I love the modular, you know, multiple different items you can add to it. I enjoyed my time using my Boundary Supply Errant for EDC when I did. They're a heavy bag, in my opinion. That is the one thing and not in a bad way. Like, there's heavy bags that just kind of suck. They're heavy. Like, I feel like what I have in there is protected. Like, what I have, it's a quality bag, I guess, from that standpoint, right? There's something about them that I don't know. Their shoulder pads were good. Yeah. It's just weird. It's weird because I'm so traditionally used to a clamshell opening the front. That's what I struggle getting around is that part of it. But I guess that's why different companies.
Even with the first Errant, you're right. Like the clamshell's in the back, but you still have the front access with the lid. You open the lid up on both the Errant Pro and the Errant. You could access, sort of like your CHG26, where you can go into everything from the top. Just it depends on how you pack it. Like for me, I always make sure I put my pullover, like a light sweater, right up top, or a rain jacket, so I can just open it, grab it, and go if I need to put something on quick.
Yeah, and you know what? That gets to an interesting statement. I always like think in my mind, what could I do better with this bag? What could I make better? And for me, maybe Boundary will listen. You know what I would love if they did? Like when Peak Designs took the Everyday and took the clasp lid thing and made it into the zip. I don't know. There's something about the zip that makes it so much nicer, in my opinion. Like, I think if Boundary could figure that out, and that instead of that clamshell opening, closing lid thing, just do a full zip, even if it's a half zip, that would be pretty awesome. I don't know. I'm all about the way to access it with a zipper, and I think the look of it cleans it up a little bit. Now,
don't forget, that's actually, so you're right. That's one of the things that I would say was detracted me from the Peak design was the clasp, because I thought from just a security standpoint, sure, it was like you had to know how to open the clasp, but still you could open it. The Boundary has the lid, but it also, you could zip it closed. You can, or you could choose not to zip it, or you could zip it closed and it's still extra safe.
Yes. Yeah, but for me, I'm thinking of it from an accessible standpoint. I just don't want that flap. Like, I just want that removed so I can jump right into the bag with the zippers. And I think I'm more traditionalist from that standpoint. Like, even top packing to me, I don't know. I don't love. That was the only complaint I ever had with the Civic half zips, where I love clamshell. Now, I will say the Civic half zips from Evergoods, I felt did it better than anyone else, because I felt like you got a really good half zip, and it was kind of bucket style down there, so I was pretty good at stuffing some stuff that I wasn't going to use daily, and then building from there. But I don't know. So that's the one thing I would change on the Boundary Supply bag. I always keep thinking, like, if I could build a perfect bag, I think right now my thought process is the Civic half zip 26 with the Civic travel bag 26 laptop section. That's it. Like, I need, I do have it down here. Yep. So here's CHC. All I need is like an extra like part of the back panel here, that side panel. And because I mentioned earlier, the one thing I don't love about this bag is if I'm carrying a laptop. And in a lot of the comments that I've chatted with people that have gone with that bag, they're always talking about how it worked out really well for them and they don't carry a laptop. I'm like, well, yeah, if you don't carry a laptop, it would work out really well, because that's the only annoying thing I can think of, is just trying to dive into the main compartment for my laptop is just a pain in the butt. And I tried using, what's the Boundary Supply sleeve, whatever that is.
Which one?
The laptop sleeve.
Oh, the sleeve, the field space.
The field space, yeah. I tried that with the Evergoods CHC, and it worked out, but it gets it so much bulkier that it just kind of took away a lot of the space. So when I actually traveled, I was like, I need more space for clothing and stuff. So it didn't work out. But anyways, what would you change if you could?
Oh my gosh. On the Boundary or on any bag?
On anything, yeah, or the Boundary.
Honestly, I think the biggest thing, it's funny because I feel like the companies that make these bags, I admire their decisions on how they built it and what went into the design. And, each bag sort of has a different user for it and different things. The thing that I would fault many of the bag companies for is their choice in fabric. That's something that I learned. Very, I know you and
I knew you were going to materials. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like I can't fault Boundary for any of their design or Evergoods for any of their design, or but it's about fabric choices that sometimes kill me. Like just from an Evergoods standpoint, how I felt about their new fabric choice. I wasn't a big fan of their 840D, or especially the 420D on the CTB 26. I wish they even went 840 on that.
Did you ever get a reply from your comment?
Yes, and it was sort of a we did what we did, and that's it. But like Boundary, like for example, on Boundary listened because I think Hypalon is a cool looking fabric, but it was shows scratches super easily.
Sure.
Like the errants would look terrible after a year because they're just getting scratched in everyday use. So it's just about the fabric choice that I think companies make. To me, a backpack is something that not only has to look cool, obviously, but be functional and last a long time. That's why, to me, like my favorite fabric of all time is the 511, the GoRuck fabric, this 1000D nylon. Like the thing is indestructible. Like you can talk about X-Pack and water resistance and all these things, but if I were to choose, and here's the downside, if I were to choose one bag that I knew I can only use one really for the rest of my life and it had to last, it would be a 1000D bag, like a GoRuck GR1, and even though I would prefer to use the Boundary supply bag, every day, it's going to be the bag that lasts me for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I mean, they are indestructible. There's no doubt about it. And shout out to GoRuck. Yeah, they're the first time you're bringing them up for the first time discussing this. But I will say one of the things I love about the Scars. I mean, I actually got to use the Scars warranty, which is really cool. And again, they do what they say and they say what they're going to do. And it was a great experience. I even got extra stickers of Monster or whatever, the dog and whatnot, but it was really cool. It was a great experience. My wife was using her bullet and broke the zipper and shipped it back. They fixed it and sent me with some cool extras. So nice. I have nothing but love for GoRuck, but I happen to like their clothing better than their bags at this point. So, and that's all just my. Gotta get some bottle holders, man. Bottle holders. It's all about the bottle holders for me. So that's a make or break for me. But yeah, I rock their shorts and pants and their boots, and I have to say, I'm a GoRuck fan.
If you asked me the one thing that I would change on a GoRuck bag, it would be the bottle holders. You're right.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, it's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just such a missing part that for travel and again, I'm a big we joke around. My wife and I have this other friend couple. We always joke around like when we're going to buy a car, how cup holders are so important because I guess we're just high maintenance, bougie people or whatever. I don't know, but I always carry a water and then I carry a flavor drink and then sometimes I have an energy drink. So just me, I'm somewhere between 2 to 3. Bottles or cups when if you look at, so here's my normal dose, right? I have my Connectus Corp, the company I work for. I have a 32-liter Camelback chute, and then most of the time my flavored drink, I'm using the Pack Travel mug. I love this thing, by the way. It has held up. It's fantastic. Shout out to them for that. This is a great simple cup that I put right now. There's iced tea in it, but whether it's iced tea or coffee or whatever. But so for me, it's usually a minimum of 2. Now, when I travel, sometimes I'll ditch the water bottle and I'll just take the pack, and I'll just buy a regular plastic water bottle in the airport or whatever. But I'll have the pack for all drinks if I need to mix something in there.
Well, I'll have to pick on you for one thing. So that was a 32-ounce water bottle, not a 32-liter. I don't know any backpack that would support a 32-liter water bottle.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I think I'll give a shout out to Evergoods for, in my opinion, having the best water bottle holders of any bag. If I could take the fabric off the Evergoods and sew it onto a GoRuck or
right?
Yeah.
I'm with you 100%. That's all they need to do. They just need to keep it, and it's such a simple design. It's not like there's anything crazy, that stretchy material and whatever they got going on, but they really are amazing bottle holders. The CHC, the CTB, that was why I waited for the CTB. Was it's the one option they have that had full clamshell and bottle holders. So for me, that was huge. But oh well. Yeah, I think we'll close it up here. We've been geeking out and chatting a lot regarding different backpacks, but Boundary Supply, obviously, you're definitely loving and enjoying. Is there any other companies you've been testing, intrigued with, seeing some good stuff come down the road? Anything from that perspective?
The two things that intrigue me right now are Black Ember. I actually picked up one of their bags on a sale that they had, the Shadow 26.
Okay.
You know, fan, not you know, it's not going to displace my Boundary. But
Sure.
the other backpack that I'm intrigued with that I know nothing about really is the Mouse, Mous. It's
Yes.
a company that have built well-known cases for iPhones that you could like throw off a roof and it would last.
Yeah.
They designed a backpack that actually has a lot of peak design, everyday bag vibes,
Okay.
but like it's again they've thrown a laptop off like a 10-story building in one of their bags and it survived. So I'm intrigued just from the fabric that's in that bag and
Durability.
yeah. So that's one that might be my next purchase, but it's a company I don't know much about.
Okay. Intriguing. Yeah, I know you and I chatted very briefly, I think in text about both of those, but I haven't really done a whole lot of research into either of them as far as, getting hands on or looking past the website or an advertisement on Instagram or something from that perspective. So, um, but yeah, cool. I've got an option for a Toomey bag that's coming my way. One of my coworkers, he asked me my recommendation, and of course, for what he was doing light travel, and I was like, well, the CTB 26 is pretty awesome, but by the time he got to the website, it was sold out, and so he had to wait for the next run, and he had obviously a trip planned. He wasn't going to postpone his trip for a backpack. So he bought some
Wrong decision.
Toomey. Yeah, right. Yeah, just cancel it, man. If you can't have your CTB 26, you just shouldn't go to wherever vacation. But he bought some to me. It like doubles as a duffel and a backpack, and he was like, "Hey, man, do you want me to ship this out to you? You can run it through his paces and do a video on it." I'm like, yeah, that'll work. So the only thing I have a Toomey product or two. They're decent. I always laugh though at Toomey because obviously they're a pretty bougie brand, but the other thing is they dangle so much. It's all like you can tell a Toomey, a guy or a girl walking around with a Toomey bag from like 500 feet away because you just hear the bag jingling as all the zip pulls just fly all over the place. So it's always interesting. But they're one of those as well. Their nylon product is it always reminds me of airbags. Um, it's that really thick knitted nylon or whatever it is. It's pretty intense.
It's funny. I feel like you could always tell the companies that make backpacks as one of their line items and companies that only make backpacks. So
Yeah.
Toomey's one of those companies.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
do the phone
Yeah.
number system. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, they have an okay product. They have some neat stuff. I was gifted a shaving kit, and it's pretty big, so I don't travel with it unless like my wife and I are going somewhere. We'll double up into that one, or family or something. But I thought it was cool. They have like a metal plate inside that has like a tracking thing, so if someone finds it, they can find out that it's registered to you. I just thought it was unique. Like that's a kind of a neat concept that they somewhere out there on a web server they have all this logistical information to get your bag back to you. So just different stuff. But yeah. So anyhow, yeah, any last thoughts, comments, emotional outbursts, anything crazy?
My emotional outburst is imagining Toomey hiring Liam Neeson to track down your lost bag when someone picks it up and takes it. I feel like that should be a movie that I would definitely watch. My only other emotional outburst,
skills.
yeah, is please. One thing that I learned how much I loved with purchasing the Yeti Tokayo, which is a Yeti backpack, their first foray into non-cooler backpacks, is that I really, really desire a backpack that could stand on its own. I didn't realize how much I didn't like having to prop up a backpack on a wall or on a chair to get it to stay. But I love backpacks that stand on their own.
Yeah, No, that's the first time you and I started chatting about packs. I was using the Bullet Ruck, and you had mentioned like, yeah, and I was like, yeah, I went through that phase and I'm over it. Well, I went back to that phase because I was in I went after the Bullet, and when we started traveling again, because that was, you know, that thing in 2020 we don't talk about anymore. I went to a Bellroy Transit, and you were like, but it doesn't stand. I was like, it's not a big deal. The bottle holders are hidden. You know, I can be like a bottle holder ninja, and I don't know what happened, but like 6 months, 8 months after having that bag, I was just like, yeah, this kind of sucks that I have to lean it up against everything, and then it always just would fall on its face, and it was so annoying. I was like, all right, I can't do this anymore. So I was really excited for the Evergoods stuff. That for the most part, they stand up. You know, obviously some of it's depending on what you put in them, but they've been standing pretty good. So
yeah.
So anyhow, yeah, cool, really good. So everyone have an awesome day, evening, wherever you're at. Yeah, like the video, enjoy. Hopefully you learned a little bit or got to see some stuff and got to geek out with us over backpacks.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I feel like I'll talk about backpacks all day long.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for joining.
All right, thank you. Take care, everyone.
Yep, thanks. Bye.